thank you.
So I'm Katie, I'm a learning disability nurse at Cheswold Park Hospital. I'm a practice development nurse as well. So Cheswold is a secure hospital. We have roughly 20 patients with learning disability and or autism.
My name is Steve. I'm a practice development nurse just like yourself. I work for Oxleas NHS Foundation Trust.
And an RNLD like myself.
Yeah,
yes.
Cool. And we have three community learning disability teams, 2 day services and 1 inpatient service. And we cover 3 London boroughs of Bexley, Bromley and Greenwich.
Congratulations on your nominations for the Nursing Times. And I know you don't want a big fuss, but we've brought you this from Cheswold. So there you go. I hope you like it. We'll wait for you to open it.
I love this.
You can keep that. When you read like that. Ta-da!
Hey! Hey, cool.
So I hope you're going to be wearing that on the night of the awards.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
Oh.
So there you go. How did you get into LD nursing?
When I was about 8 or 9, my next door neighbour was, as it was then, an RNMH, a registered nurse in mental handicap. And he talked my dad into becoming the chairman of the trustees of the home he used to work in. It's a home, quite a large home for kids with learning disabilities in East Dulwich, part of South London. So when he used to go to the meetings, I used to go up with him, and I used to play with the other kids. I used to play football with this young man, really energetic man called Tony. I saw him about 20 years later.
Wow.
I was doing a best interest meeting in his home, and he didn't remember me, but I remembered him. And he's really good. What a great quality of life he's got. He's still as energetic as he was back then.
Yeah.
So that really got me into it.
Yeah. And so you've been qualified. I've been qualified 9 years. What about you?
Since 1994.
The agendas and the drivers in LD nursing, I should imagine, have changed over the years.
A lot of the drivers haven't changed, because in 1994, when I qualified, they were supporting learning disability nurses.
All right, okay.
And then about 10 years later, they redid it again, showing the importance of learning disability nurses.
So after 20 years, do you think they get it that we're still needed?
Yeah, exactly.
Do you think they do or not? I'm not quite sure.
When I started being a support worker when I was 18, I was a key worker for this lovely man called Barry. He was 40 years old. And I learned so much from him. And also I supported him to learn skills, because he was 40 and he'd never made a cup of tea, never made a sandwich, etc., or beans on toast. So I learned what task analysis is. It's a breaking down task into so many steps, and doing it step by step, and then reinforcing it. So he learned that way. So he learned all these skills. And also Annika Rice, it's called Challenge Annika. One programme, he was really upset about it. It was about orphanages in Romania. So he started to think about what he could do to help them. So he started to raise money for it. So he did a sponsored bar full of cold baked beans, and he stayed in there for a little while. And he raised at least £200-300.
Wow.
And he was on the front page of the local newspaper.
Fabulous. What an inspiration. Yeah, that's great. What are your challenges as an LD nurse? What challenges you?
I think in the main it's society. I still find pockets of society who don't integrate with people with learning disabilities, don't welcome them into their community.
People with learning disabilities don't ask for a lot. In fact, they don't ask for anything, do they really? It's us that ask for it. But I suppose we say that at Cheswold, we say the most sociable people of the LD wards. They just really want your time and attention. It's not really a lot to ask for, really, is it?
It's what they're entitled to.
Yeah, exactly. It's like what we're entitled to, What advice would you give others, Steve, that face these daily challenges, whether that be a parent of someone with learning disability and autism, or a professional? What advice would you give to them?
I think the main thing I would tell people would be that never ever more is learning disability nurses needed as a profession as it is today, because the health inequalities they face day by day, their premature deaths, the poor quality of services, Yeah, going back in year 2000 to when I was a trainer in a London borough, we had a commissioner who believed in mainstream services, accessing healthcare from them, and he didn't believe in learning disability nurses. We only employed one learning disability nurse across the whole borough, as a community nurse. That didn't work at all. The leader reports, the in-death by indifference, it's got so much evidence. So they've gone from having one learning disability nurse to 4 in one borough.
Another thing I wanted to speak to you about, because you've done a letter, haven't you, recently? Tell us about the letter that you've sent.
Right, well, we started off because I work with the Can You Understand It team. I work with the team and People Learning was employed as an editorial team. And we were given the opportunity to speak at a Learning Disabilities Today event in May this year. And the speaker before us was Professor Pauline Heslop. She was talking about the leader report. And she left loads of easy read versions of the report out. So afterwards, Sonny, this member of the group, he quite rightly asked me what it was about. And I panicked. I didn't know whether I should water it down, I should tell him the truth, etc. So I told him it's about the premature deaths of people with learning disabilities. And he asked me the really difficult question, well, what age will I die? I couldn't answer that. He said, what does the report say? Or it says, unfortunately, I think it said 21 years, or something like that. They die before you or I. No. So he started to think about what we could do to respond to the report. So we come up with the idea of writing a letter to Jeremy Hunt, who was then the Minister of Health and Social Care, Sir Simon Stevens, the Chief Executive of NHS England, and Ray James, who is the Learning Disability Lead for NHS England. He's a lovely man who I've tweeted, and he's tweeted back. Yeah, so I've got a lot of respect for him. So we started off by stating what our concerns were about the report, about people dying early, etc. We also said that we didn't like their response about the report. Because they did respond in the Health Service Journal, they write an article and some blogs, but from our point of view, and especially from Sonny's and also Peter's point of view, they said, well, no one's actually come to anybody with learning disabilities. They haven't responded to us at all. And it's about people with learning disabilities. And then we asked 5 recommendations we want them to respond to about making reasonable adjustments, training mandatory for everyone, to increase the amount of learning disability nurses, and also educational opportunities for people to become learning disability nurses, to make sure every hospital and GP surgery employs a learning disability nurse, and that the Transforming Care programme from NHS England continues.
What's the outcome? We're waiting to hear back?
Well, they replied yesterday.
Oh, right.
I
so
deliberately,
hot off the press.
I deliberately haven't read it in case that influenced what I might say today. It's a really long letter.
Is it? Right, okay.
But also, they released the response to Paula McGowan regarding a really sad story of her son Oliver, who died in hospital. They both released on the same day, and they both look like each other. The letters are very resemble each other. They cut and paste from one to the other. So
right. So do you think we're being fobbed off a bit, do you, Steve?
Yeah.
What are we wanting from this reply? What would be the good outcome? What do we want? What would be?
Well, mandatory training to reasonable adjustments, which you're doing at your hospital.
Yeah.
A face-to-face training instead of, just doing 20-minute e-learning.
Yeah. For the doctors, is that?
Yeah, doctors and nurses. And in the response to Paula, they mentioned, we do this learning disability framework, tier 1, 2 and 3, support workers in the community, etc. But That doesn't include doctors.
No, and this is the thing, because what it tries to do, like the Autism Act, I don't know if you've noticed, but they like say that people that work with people with learning disability or autism, I mean, that's everybody, isn't it? We all work in that. So it's not practical, really, to say that we've all got to have this training. So as much as they're saying that the framework's there, is how do they practically influence and make it mandatory? Because at the minute people are saying, well, it's not my caseload, or I might have one or two. Well, if you've got one or two, then that's good enough reason for
exactly.
So that's the difficulty, isn't it?
And also with the learning disability framework, they say it's down to the commissioners who commission the supported living, the hospitals, etc. It's down to them to make sure that they do it.
So there's no professional accountability.
Exactly.
You know, these are educated people that need to kind of take a bit of responsibility for the society that they're serving. So I've read the letter that you sent and the 5 proposals, which I think are great. The thing that I liked the most, that resonated most, was the Gandhi quote that you used, which is that society should be judged by how they treat their most vulnerable members of society. So how do you think we should be judged in 2018 as a society?
Still the same quote that came out from Gandhi in 1930 something. I don't like the term vulnerable because we're enabling people, we're empowering people to become members of the community, to lead a good quality of life. But I need to accept that people are still vulnerable because of the health inequalities, the poor services, the daily headlines of abuse, inquests, etc.
So it sounds like you're busy with your Nursing Times nomination and all your work that you're doing with the service users, and your practice development nurse. That's right.
Same as you.
So So what are you doing in the next 2 months? What's your priorities?
Well, my work line of work, I'm setting up a forensic service. It's a low secure service for 6 men with people with learning disabilities who may have committed offences when they were ill. They're stepping down from a medium secure unit from all over the country, from places like Norfolk, Leesworth, Northampton, Nottinghamshire, etc. So I'm looking forward to them coming down.
Are they being repatriated back
to
area?
Yeah, it's part of the transforming care.
Yes, no, that's fabulous. Oh, so you'll have to come maybe and visit us at Cheswold.
Definitely.
Because it'd be interesting because we've just got medium secure, so it'd be kind of nice to know what the pathway is out. But definitely. So you've got a busy 2 months then. Just setting up a unit. 2 months.
On a personal note, I'm still writing loads of blogs with people with learning disabilities. We're going to consider our next steps about the letter we wrote. Maybe will involve marching to Parliament if we're not arrested.
Or struck off.
Or struck off,
Don't know what's worse. So I just want to say on a personal level as well, because a lot of the work that we do at Cheswold is in line with what you're doing on a day-to-day basis. So thank you for your daily blogs, your daily tweets, the daily updates on Facebook. It just reassures us that we're doing the right thing. If other people want to follow him, Steve, tell us how they access it.
It's ALD at Oxleas. Blogspot.com.
It's my trouble,